The scariest experiment in history is the global economy today. There's a lot of things happening in the marketplace that may not make sense to you, and that is perfectly fine because the entire financial system we have today is fueled by stupidity and is completely different than any other financial system we have seen in all of history, pretty much. And how is our financial system different than any other time in history, you might be asking? This is actually an extremely easy question to answer. There's actually more than one reason why the global economic system is the most terrifying experiment in all of human history, but how these add up together. They are a bunch of failed economic practices that have been implemented in the past all over the globe, and we're implementing a ton of them all at one time right now. And I wonder how that's going to work out. So to start off, as you can clearly tell, we're living in the time of derivatives, and for those who do not know what a derivative is, you can think of it as an asset that is designed to mimic a real asset, that its price or whatever is designed to imitate something that is real capital, something that is actually an investment. They could be derivatives of companies, there could be derivatives of all kinds of things, there could be derivatives of debt. It's crazy, the world we live in, and how many derivatives there are. One good example of a derivative would be cash, the cash you hold. Why it came into existence, the whole reason why we have it, is because cash is designed to imitate gold, and it's designed to take the place of gold. But then we kind of said we don't need it to imitate anything, and we're just going to let this be a nothing paper, asset, whatever. But that's one of the scary practices that we're getting involved with here, though. That's one of the things that is a really terrifying part of the global economy, how we're having not just this one kind of fiat system in one country here or there. We're getting this all around the globe with a bunch of different countries all over the place. It is absolutely terrifying to think that there could be every currency potentially collapsing at the same time. Well, it kind of is already but it's not really collapsing. They're all falling in value, but at a slow, steady speed. When you could have some of the most prominent paper currencies collapse. If a couple do at the same time, that could mean that nobody has faith in any fiat currency or anything like that. And if people don't have faith in that, I don't think they're going to be running to the cryptos. I think they'll want something tangible for the most part. I think that would be a lesson in derivatives, things that could be created out of nothing essentially and just designed to imitate something. And this is another failed economic practice, just having cash be a fiat currency, just having that as your currency for your nation wherever you live. The whole fiat system, it's crazy the way it works. We have every single country in debt. Funny how that works. Every single country is in debt. That's how your money gets created, though. It's out of debt. Every country needs to be in debt in order for there would be no money at all, let's say, if your country was not in debt, because the money itself is debt. It can only be created by debt. That's the only way. But then you have to pay interest on all your debt, and you only took out so much cash. So how do you pay off the interest? There's not enough money in existence. It's just a little game that's being played with by bankers all around the world, all in many countries. Crazy the kind of games that get played when you really dig into what's going on. So if your country was to pay off all of its debt, you would have no money circulating. There would be no economy based on your currency. And if you got rid of and tried to pay off all your debt, your economy would not exist. Just the act of trying to pay off all your debt, putting all your money into paying off your debt, it's an impossible task. If you're given $100, that's all the money in existence that your central bank has created, you have to pay, let's say, a 10% interest rate. Sounds like a crazy high interest rate nowadays, but that's way below the historic average. Just saying, put a little perspective on things, showing how crazy the times are. 10% interest, $100, you have to pay back $110. You only have $100. How do you pay back the $110? You're gonna need to. It's a never-ending debt. You're gonna need to go more into debt with the same people just to pay off that, but then you're left with a bigger debt at the end, and it's a cycle that keeps going and going and going and going and going. It's a losing man's game to play this game. So why do you even start? Because you need to suck up some hard times instead of asking for the next generation to pay off all of our debts and figure everything else out, because we're going to take money from them and print money that will be directly taken out of what they could buy, what your children can actually pay for throughout their lifetime. That's why we're getting this bigger and bigger wealth gap. That's why everyone's complaining about it. It's as simple as this Fiat Currency system that is designed to be in place today that everyone's using, and then we get more and more people complaining, and then if you can't solve that problem, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I really don't think that this is a malicious experiment or anything like that. I think that this is, people are looking back to the 1930s or whatever, the Great Depression. It helped them get out of the Depression and everything like that. Because they printed money, it helped get the economy going and yada 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 yada. But it wasn't, you're not going to feel the same kind of effects as that right away as you do 100 years down the road, right around where we are today. Print a little bit of money here or there, people generally don't notice. You keep doing that and doing that and doing that and doing that and doing that, everyone notices. But that's just one aspect of the scariest experiment in all of human history. Believe it or not, that's just a small part of it. That's only a piece of the puzzle. I just feel like it's fueled by stupidity though, and it's not malicious, and I think it's just people trying to seem like a hero at the time when everything like that, when they're making policy, and they don't want people to be hurt and suffering on their watch, so they kind of pass it down. They might genuinely think, I have no idea what to do about this. Let's pass it on to the next guy. Hopefully he's smarter than I am. Who knows? But I'm not going to call anyone malicious or anything for this. I just feel like it's fueled by pure stupidity. And people do have faith in the fiat system. Please comment down below. Let me know how much faith you have in the fiat system. A lot of people, they might trash it, but in their next sentence they're showing that they do have faith in the system itself. Short term, I've got faith my dollars will buy stuff at the store or whatever. Long term, I don't have zero faith. Zero faith in the fiat system long term. That's just where my mindset's at. Every currency that's a fiat currency dies off eventually. The only currency that has survived all the ages is gold, a tangible currency. And the other part about this is the companies that we have that are deemed too big to fail nowadays. This is a crazy new economic experiment that we haven't really been seeing before. Let's think a little bit about what that could do to a company. So when a company decides that it is too big to fail, people like governments or whatever, like there's a list of banks and stuff internationally that are deemed too big to fail. Crazy, or just telling these companies we're not going to let you fail before you're even in any kind of trouble or anything like that. What does that lead to? Scary amounts of risk taken in their investments, in their everything, in their business practices. Why are they taking all this crazy risk? Because they know the government is backing their company and industry and everything like that. They could say, we're employing X amount of people, you're gonna put all these people out of work, all this everything, you can't do that, we're too big, we're gonna collapse the entire economy if we go out of business, you gotta bail us out. And they get bailed out, and they're not allowed to fail. What does that do? Well, you just prove to them that they can take all this risk and everything, and they'll be rewarded for it because they can make as much money as they want in the good times, which allows them to expand and expand and expand, which makes them everything even harder on everyone else not involved when it comes collapsing again, which means that there's going to need to be a bigger bailout paid by everyone else, and they're not going to take care of the issue themselves. It's basically, oh, we're losing money and everything, we gotta socialize everything. Socialize the losses, privatize the profits. You know how it goes. And for me, I feel like if you're allowed to succeed, you're allowed to fail. If you're allowed to succeed and become this big of a company, like take GM or whatever, if they went down, do you not think that a lot of those people start working for Ford, Toyota, whatever? They got any company that's making cars in the US, they're going to be picking up these people and hiring them. That's the way it goes. In my industry, construction, people bounce companies all the time. Especially if you're in a union or something, like you're always bouncing jobs. That's just the nature of the industry. There could be a big layoffs at one company, and I've been at companies where they had 500 guys, next thing you know, there's only 50. And that's fine. You go somewhere else, they got the contract, they got the work, they're hiring. You go there and work for them. Then if they don't get the next jobs, they don't get the next contracts, you go somewhere else and work for them. And you don't need to bail everyone out whenever there's hard times in one company, because what that does is it encourages bad business practices. All government spending and taxation, what it was designed to do at the core of everything, is influence the way people behave. It's like you tax smoking to get people not to smoke. You want to discourage people from drinking, you tax liquor. And it's like, if you want to discourage, it's like, what's income tax for? I love that comment. I can't remember who wrote it, but I'm going to go and post it on the screen here. It is genius. But I feel like the same goes in reverse. Your spending and how you bail out all these companies will influence their actions moving forward. It's not rocket science. You give them money for being risky and they put everything on black, it came up red. It's okay, you don't need to lose. If I was getting that deal, I'd be at the casino every night. I can't lose. That would be my attitude. Why wouldn't you expect the same from banks? We all know how greedy they could be. Why not? Why wouldn't you anticipate this to be the response? Pretty crazy when you think about it. And so how do these two aspects of the global economy add up? What is the end game of all of this? How do you have the derivatives and everything like that mixing in with the zombie companies and all these bailouts and having companies too big to fail? Well, it's basically just more and more risk, bigger bailouts, because you're going to keep climbing higher and higher and higher as a company, growing in size because they're allowed to take all this risk knowing that they're not going to fail. They'll fall off from a higher cliff each time, which leads to a bigger downfall. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, you know the saying. Which leads to more and more money being printed, and then eventually the money that's being printed is being printed too much, because it's a derivative that is the money itself doing the bailouts, it ends up not being accepted and traded as money because too much of it's being created and there's not enough demand for that money. People aren't demanding it, they already have money, they don't need more money. Why should I work when I have enough money to live? My house just went up so much, I sold it, I moved into a smaller place. I don't need to work another day in my life. That's literally some people's reality right now. That's the money printing. So that means that there's less goods and services being done, less people working, doing things, producing things that can have money demand. Less goods, less services. Less money. If there's more money demanding less goods and services, the prices of the goods and services available go up. And eventually goes up till the point where the dollars that are being spent on those goods and services are not accepted and not traded to have any value itself. That is the end game. Boom. Really don't be scared or anything like that. It's not as scary and everything as you guys might be thinking. Know what's coming, know the economic equation, prepare for that economic equation, and have some confidence in yourself. Even if you don't have a lot of cash or anything, do you have practical skills? If you don't have a lot of cash now, so what's the difference if the money goes down and everything then? That's kind of another way to look at it. You're going to be in the same kind of position as the people who are hoarding a lot of cash that might be employing others and everything. Once they go down, that's when that's really the way the dominoes tend to go. Just my thoughts and opinions though. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions, but as I said, it's really not as scary as one may think. If you have some self-confidence in yourself, know that you'll be able to navigate some waters, some not too deep waters. Everything will be fine. Be prepared. Hedge your bets, because who knows if everyone's gonna wake up one morning and say, you know what, we're completely doomed. We gotta change everything today, and they start making the debt and everything their focus. They started trying to make efforts to create sound money. Who knows? That is a realistic possibility. I don't think it's very realistic. I think that's really hopes and dreams, but there is a smidgen of reality that could play into that. But this is just my thoughts and my opinions. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. I like to stay optimistic and positive. Stay positive yourself, and please join the Beaver Dam fam. Like and subscribe with all notifications turned on. Stay positive. See you next time. Thanks. And check out this video on the top 10 most expensive coins in all of history. Thanks. Bye.